So welcome to another episode of Sensible Secondhand Classics. This is a 1992 Eunos Roadster 1.6 V Special Automatic, otherwise known as an MX-5 or a Miata, depending on where you're from in the world. This has been lent to me very kindly by Mark, who is a fan of the channel, and I have to say it's most agreeable, viewers, most agreeable. So the Mark 1 MX-5 or Eunos Roadster or Miata was introduced in 1989. This is a 1992 car and Japanese domestic market. So it's got an automatic gearbox and about 105 horsepower from its 1.6 Mazda B engine. I've got the roof up today because the sound is a lot better if I do that. I must admit I do feel V special because you've got this nardy, thin wood rim steering wheel, which reminds me of driving around in an Alfa Romeo 105 series coupe. I have driven one of those and I didn't do it on camera, but it's pretty good. The ride is a little bit on the firm side and the camera's probably shaking around a fair bit, but yeah, it is putting a big smile on my face. I am enjoying myself tremendously, even if maybe you're not, because the mount is shaking around everywhere. I do apologise. So in our market anyway, the trim levels were very different from in Japan. We'll look at those in a little while, but the engines, the car was launched with a 1.6 engine in 1989, which developed 115 horsepower. I had a 5-speed manual gearbox. In Japan you could get this 3-speed automatic, or really 3-speed overdrive I should say, from Jatco, but the engine develops in this car only 105 horsepower. In about 1994, I don't know why that was, presumably to do with emissions regulation or something, they detuned 1.6 to 88 horsepower. 1.8 came out at about, as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by my phone actually falling out of the mount. That's just the way it goes on this channel sometimes. The 1.8, what was new for sort of late 93, early 94, that developed 128 horsepower for the first year of production, and then in about 1996 it was up to about 132 horsepower. There we go. Hopefully my mount's not actually going to for the phone falling out again. What a superb little car this is. The only thing that's not enjoying it is the phone jumping around everywhere, but you know, that's kind of the way it goes, I'm afraid. It's going to show me how to get the roof down. It's a little thing just there, and on the other side. Then it just lifts up like this and down. It's pretty easy. That's about 15 seconds. So yes, we're still at the Lloyd Vehicle Consulting social event at the Coach and Horses in Cadnam near Southampton. This car belongs to Mark, who's very kindly brought it down all the way from East Anglia today. Being a Eunos, it looks a bit different from the UK market MX-5. There's quite a number of differences actually, one of them being the back end. Of course, the plate doesn't fit in a normal aperture, what it would have in the UK market cars. It's a different exhaust and a mandatory fog light, which wasn't required in Japan at the time, of course. There's a wind deflector fitted to this particular car, and a very nice nardy steering wheel. The interior does look a fair bit nicer actually than the UK market ones, in my opinion. I mean, that other people might disagree with me, but I'm a bit of a fan of beige leather interiors anyway. And in this V Special trim, because that's actually what it's called, it looks lovely. Tiny, tiny little door handles. There we go. Roadster is a convertible, lightweight sports. There we are. Good advice for life by Mazda in Japan. That in the background is Mr. Coleman revving his Granada. I do apologise. It does sound nice though. So if we take a seat in here, just very carefully. Always got to be careful on these convertible cars. You don't sort of actually kind of do damage to yourself by getting in right against there. There's a warning there in Japanese that I don't understand, but we do understand that these sun visors fold in quite an ingenious way. They're kind of two sort of stage sun visors. That's pretty good. Now the lights for the interior are actually down here, and Mark's upgraded those to LED as well. Stereo's not original, that is an aftermarket one, but this panel here with the air conditioning and you know, bits and pieces like that, it is actually the original spec. It's like these tiny, tiny, tiny little stalks for wipers on the left and the indicators and lights on the right hand side. This car's had a conversion to a miles per hour speedo, because it would have been in kilometers per hour originally, and we've got kilograms per centimeter cubed of oil for some reason. Aftermarket thing for the 12-volt socket or cigarette lighter. Automatic transmission. Now this car only develops 105 horsepower as opposed to the 115 that the manual cars would have developed with this 1.6 B engine, the Mazda B engine. There's no way I'm getting my secret mission documents in there. Absolutely no way. Won't even bother with that. And also, we've not really got any storage points on these doors. We do have an interesting kind of sort of interior release. There's another car that's far more expensive it shares with. It could be something like an Aston Martin or something. I don't actually remember views. Maybe somebody can tell me what the interior door handles on these are shared with, but because I forget at the moment. Dashboard, it just reminds me of I don't know, a Spitfire or an MG Midget or something like that. Just the size of everything and the fact that we've got all these little spindly stalks. I don't know if these switches here are aftermarket or not, but hazard light switch is there's a little toggle here. Now you can also lock this bit in the middle. This is actually how you access the... I can just find the right thing. Just hold on a moment, viewers. There we go. That is how you access the fuel filler flap and boot release. In fact, I'll just pull the boot release. We'll take a look at that in a second. You can actually lock this so that nobody can get in your boot unless you've got the key, which is pretty handy. Nice normal conventional handbrake with some wood trim on it. Oh yes, gnarly steering wheel. Aftermarket alarm system on this. I must make sure that that's okay. Fog light switch has been added later, and sort of drilled pedal. It's even got a footrest on it. Actually, this is quite a comfortable driving position. That's nice. Quite like that. Right, let's take a look at the boot then. Okay, so if you open this up, see the spare wheels at an interesting kind of place. It's not where I thought it would be at all. I think the Mark II NB is a little bit bigger than this actually. But the similar sort of folding roof arrangement. I think the tonneau cover's around here somewhere. But we won't put that on or anything. I'll get the Mark to put the roof up for me as well before we go out, 'cause otherwise the sound will be terrible. I do like it with these sort of aftermarket wheels on it. It's interesting. Colour combination, of course, is quite nice too. It does sort of stand out. I mean, there's quite a few of these still around, and they are really classics these days, but yeah, I really like this, viewers. I don't know why I'm surprised, but I do. Right, let's open up the engine bay. Here we go. Mazda B engine. This case a 1.6 unit developing 105 horsepower because this is the 1.6 auto. Mounted longitudinally. It's also very similar to the engine in the contemporary Mazda 323 at the time as well. Looks reasonably easy to work on. I mean, MX-5s and Eunos Roadsters. There's so many videos on YouTube which sort of show you how to kind of upgrade these and everything like that. That radiator looks very new as well. Yes, it's pretty great to sort of have the pop-up headlamps as well. Obviously the NB, the Mark IIs don't have these. Maybe we can see some pop-up headlight action happening in a little bit. Well, viewers, if you've never seen what scuttle shape looks like in one of these cars, then you're about to see it. It is jumping just everywhere, so I will make this as brief as I can. It is lovely to drive, the steering is brilliant, the ride is a little bit on the firm side, as you can see, not helped by scuttle shake. But it is just a fantastic car. They always were. They've been so for over 30 years. Brakes aren't quite what I expected. The car doesn't really weigh very much though, so maybe you don't need amazing brakes. It probably weighs on about 980 kilos. Maybe it's a bit more with this automatic gearbox, but it's not very much anyway. Driving position's very good. There is a footrest in here as well. It's just the right angle for me. I also like, of course, these crazy headrests, which have speakers in them because this model is V special. Oh, viewers, it's a crazy amount of fun that I'm having. And the exhaust sounds great too. Just put it through this little corner here and hopefully you're not being too sick by all this shaking. There we go. Grip, 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 grip. Yes. It has got power steering, but what I feel is brilliant. Superb. Let's now look at some UK market NA MX-5 trim levels. So there were models just called, 1.6i or 1.8i, but the trim levels when they were there were S, SE, and then a whole load of special editions: the Barclay, the Classic, the Le Mans, the Monaco, the Dakar, the Glen Eagles, the Harvard, the Merlot, and the Monza. I didn't realise how many special editions there were for the Mark I MX-5 in this country, which is pretty crazy, really. The engine's 1.6, 114 horsepower until 93, and from 94, 88 horsepower. 1.8, 128 horsepower from 94 to 95, and then 96, 97, 133 horsepower. Obviously, this being the Japanese market, 1.6 auto has 105 horsepower. So viewers, with your hard-earned money of less than £5,000, should you buy yourself a Eunos or a Miata or an MX-5, the NA generation? Well, I think the prices of these cars are only going one way. I mean, either you sort of want one of these or you don't. Especially driving an automatic. The last one we drove on Tweed Jacket Reviews was a manual, the late Mark 2.5. But yes, it's amazing to finally drive one of these. I've wanted to try one for quite some time, and I'm not disappointed at all, viewers. Unusual specification on this being the Japanese market and an automatic. But yes, they're pretty brilliant. I mean, the rust is a real issue on these, and you know, they are getting quite old now, so you must check the engines carefully and everything else. But yeah, interesting, you can still buy these in reasonable condition for about £5,000, but that won't particularly last that long, I think. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed for watching this episode of Sensible Secondhand Classics. Please don't forget to like this video, to leave a comment below, to switch on notifications to be informed of new uploads, and social media links are down in the description below. And thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching.